Hi, my name is Bianca Rodriguez, and for this clinical field experience, I continued working alongside a special education teacher to help implement math intervention strategies with a group of sixth grade students. So, to start, I met with my mentor to talk about a group of students who we knew were struggling during the math portion of their day. We discussed how these students had a difficulty staying organized, following the multi step directions, and maintaining their attention during the math lessons. So, based on those needs, she helped me to select two intervention strategies. One is the chunking of the multi step problems, and the second is small group instruction. So we chose the chunking of the multi-step problems because the students were becoming very overwhelmed when they saw the longer problems with all the multiple steps. By breaking down the problems into the smaller parts, it helped the students focus on one step at a time. And we chose the small group instruction because these students needed the extra support, repeated instructions, and immediate feedback so they better understood all of the content. So during the lesson, I did notice a clear improvement when all of these strategies were used and implemented. When the problems were broken down into smaller steps, the students were more focused and less overwhelmed. So instead of shutting down or skipping steps, they were able to take their time and work through each part. I also noticed that the students made fewer mistakes because they were checking their work step by step. And the students were also more willing to try. Before I noticed that some students would give up more quickly when they saw a long problem, but with chunking up the problem, they were more confident and they also stay engaged longer. During the small group instruction, I saw even more growth. Students were more engaged, they asked more questions, and they seemed more comfortable in the smaller setting and they weren't afraid to ask for help. Because they also received immediate feedback, they were able to fix mistakes right away and better understand what they were doing. So, overall, their participation and understanding improved in both settings. So, in the future, there are a few things that I would adjust to better support the students. First, I would give students a step by step checklist at their desk. So, this checklist would give them through each part of the problem, such as reading the problem, solving step one, and checking their work. This would also help students stay organized and make sure they don't skip important steps, especially when they work independently. Second, I would give students more opportunities to explain their thinking out loud. For example, I could have students turn and talk with a partner to explain how they solved the problem to their group. This would help deepen their understanding and also allow me to check for any misunderstandings that they may have. And finally, I would provide more guided practice before moving on to independent work. Some students, they still need that extra support and practice before they were ready to work on their own. Giving them more time to practice with more support would help build their confidence and reduce the errors that they may make. So, one strategy the children can use at home is chunking up the problems. Students can begin by breaking up their homework into smaller steps instead of trying to solve the whole problem at once. So this would make the work feel more manageable. They can also solve one step at a time and check their work after each step. This would help them catch mistakes early if they're getting confused towards the end. Students can also use a pencil or a highlighter to mark each step, such as maybe circling important numbers or the underlying key words of a problem. And this would help them stay focused and organized. Overall, I think those strategies would help students feel less overwhelmed and with doing work at home and more successful when they complete their homework. So, this experience showed me that students need different types of support to be successful. So, in my future classroom, I would continue to break down problems into smaller steps so that students can focus on one part at a time. I also think that using small group instruction often would give students more direct support. It would help with repeated directions, and then I could answer questions right away instead of the students waiting till after when I would have time. I also plan to check on students regularly during the lesson by walking around asking questions, and making sure that they understand before I move on. And most importantly, I want to create a classroom where students feel comfortable to ask for help. I want them to know that making mistakes is a part of learning and they'll all be supported. Thank you.